Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television, live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Africa appears set to stamp out terrorism on the continent as AU army chiefs meet in Bamako, Mali. Nigerian army busts Boko Haram commerce wing, destroys goods and seafoods meant for terrorists. We kickstart our review of the 100 days of Muhammadu Buhari in office. We begin tonight with politics. And hundreds of desperate migrants who have been stuck at a Budapest railway station for days have set off on foot, saying they intend to walk all the way to Austria. Well, all our top stories can be found on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to please interact with the Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app on the Android, iOS, and Windows platforms. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Now, reactions have been trailing the public declaration of assets by President Muhammadu Buhari and the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. A civil society organization, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, says the declaration has set the tone for a culture of transparency in governance. A statement issued by SERAP goes on to laud the President and his deputy for the gesture, saying they had demonstrated that transparency in governance is not a mirage. SERAP hopes that this public declaration of assets by the President and the Vice President will bring about the needed transformation in the institutional framework for fighting corruption in Nigeria. The civil rights group is also asking the President to ensure that other top government officials and the ministers to be appointed take a cue from them. It is about 100 days since President Muhammadu Buhari took office. It is the first time the People's Democratic Party will be out of prominence at the center since this democratic dispensation commenced in 1999. Enormous pressure is on the All Progressives Congress to deliver on its campaign promises, especially after emerging victorious using the change mantra. On Channels Television, we begin a series of news reports assessing performance and activities of President Buhari in the major sectors of Nigerian life. Tonight, our focus is on politics.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
That was a shocker to some, and to others, perhaps a strong pointer to yet an emerging reality of a new political dynamics. On assumption of office, perhaps a first political game before him to play was the intriguing leadership of the National Assembly. The president had earlier come out to say he won't interfere, but the outcome after the inauguration had heated the ruling APC almost to a boiling point.
Really, they were trying to force Mr. President to get from the executive to bring his hands into the legislature, which will be completely independent from that process. And I think it was very smart in not getting involved.
I think it was politically expedient for him to step back.
The president was forced to meet with leaders of the party on the matter.
Whatever your personal interest is and ambition, please keep it close to your heart and in your pocket.
The body language of the president was fast sending coded and uncoded messages to members of the APC, especially those who were said to have funded his campaigns. The plans to fight corruption hard perhaps was another political decision which has sent jitters to every quarter. At his trip to the United States, the president told the CNN that he won't spare anyone, even his party members.
There isn't going to be any party member or any personality that can escape justice.
Those words are enough signals of things to come as the nation waits breathlessly for announcements of appointments. Ministers would not be announced until September, the presidency said, and for those offices he had decided on, the outcry over it is ear-piercing.
I think this is where the president will need a lot of help politically, because merit, integrity, being right for the assignment is very important. However, the system requires patronage.
But then what should be the nature of the composition of President Buhari's cabinet?
It's a mixture of, technocrats and politicians normally. There are certain sectors of the economy where I expect the president, to appoint ministers who are technocrats, to help him.
Who is a real leader of the APC? Another controversy of what should be the role of the president as a member of the party.
The president goes in a different direction, you see the whole party going his way. So that's effective leadership. So we can see that if we call that politics, well, he is a political leader, or he's shaping up to be a political leader. So for now, I think we need a president. We don't need a party leader at the Aso Rock Villa. We need a president.
Politics has been labeled a dirty game, but it is the same game President Muhammadu Buhari played in becoming Nigeria's #1 citizen. In the coming days, millions of Nigerians are going to be watching on the sideline to see just how the president is able to maneuver in playing this game amidst his other political players. Well, how successful he does that, I guess only time will tell. Shewa Kimaloye reporting for Channels Television News.
I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by Dr. Austin Mweze, a public affairs analyst and professor at the Pan-Atlantic University in Lagos. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, looking at the last 100 days, reading his body language, assessing his political style and utterances, who is President Muhammadu Buhari?
Well, to say that 100 days is usually a very critical moment for any leader, especially incoming one, in the sense that it's then that the people will get to know his personality, his pattern, his style, and all that. And most times you find that the 100 days determines, is always there to the tenure of the office. Whatever be the body language, the pattern, the personality, he is able to exhibit. Unfortunately, I wasn't in Nigeria when he first came as a military head of state. I was a student in Canada, and I heard a lot of stories about him. And having the opportunity now to watch, I said, okay, this was what the stories I heard is being exhibited now again. And it's okay. He's because one of the things that or challenges the past administration had was being presidential. I think we're beginning to be presidential in the way that we do things. People are beginning to, one of the things, the noise about probe, I will probe, then people begin to, when you smoke out a grass cutter and this thing, but I think they should go beyond just that. I expect that in fighting corruption, for instance, which is, if every administration, has its own, every leader has its own capability, where he chooses. It's like a struggle continuing. He does his own and then the rest. But since he has chosen the corruption thing, which is started as a head of state, I believe that they should do more than just harassing in parentheses, or doing all that. They should begin to look at building institutions, because it's the institutions that will actually fight corruption. Whenever it may be 4 years or 8 years, another person comes and is these institutions that will ensure that the legacies he's leaving behind is sustained.
All right. Now, let's look at the relationship between the National Assembly and the executive. What are your thoughts about that relationship?
The fireworks have not started yet. They're still on honeymoon.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're still on honeymoon. The National Assembly is on holidays. Just they go, after a few days, they go on holidays. So it's after the whole cabinet is complete. And then from the time that ministers are appointed, and then the National Assembly will take, its visit. So far, there's been some kind of, good relationship in the sense that the Senate President, for instance, and the Speaker, because of the way they came in, they're still trying to win the heart of the President. And they might not, kind of upset or, try to be more assertive for now. But as they settle down in the years ahead, they'll be able to assert themselves. Then the political fireworks will actually take up. But for now, it's been some kind of a honeymoon.
All right. Now, yesterday, the president and his deputy declared their assets. Is this a forerunner of what to expect from his cabinet?
Well, it's a good thing that since it's a tradition in Nigeria, but I don't remember any country anywhere where leaders have to, we have a Code of Conduct Bureau, the institutions that have a way naturally. But the point is that they have declared this. But who is going to make sure that, declare after leaving office how much they have, the difference between the time they came in? 25 cows or horses and all that, 270 million and all that. We are reading from the vice president, the president and all that. How are we going to find out when they leave office to actually say, okay, look, this is it. But it's the institutions that will make sure that any wealth that is not acquired the way it should be after leaving office, they'll be able to tell us. I would like to know how much they are leaving office with by the time they leave office. So, and I believe that any other person, occupying any position must be able to have this. The institutions, the Code of Conduct Bureau, should be able to let us know that this person came in, he had this. This time he's leaving office, I don't expect them to be the same because salaries and all that. But, something that is moderate, reasonable.
Well, very quickly, talking about cabinet ministers who are likely to be appointed sometime this month.
Yeah.
What criteria, maybe you can just give us, bullet points. What criteria do you think the president should utilize in the appointment?
No, but he has already started with his kitchen cabinet. The same criteria is going to use.
Well, we're talking about the ministers.
Yeah, the ministers, the most credible. Anybody that is going into government to make money should be wary that, hey, it's no longer business as usual, so that if you're willing to serve, well, that's the body language of the president. But whether they will do it or use the Nigerian factor, there's always a way and all that. And that's what institutions should be able to check. So avoid any loophole so that they don't take advantage of those loopholes. Yeah, so that is just the thing I expect. There must be credible people. People that have the heart of this nation to serve the people, and not using the opportunity given to them to build wealth for themselves.
Thank you very much. And at that point, we'll have to call it a day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
It's my pleasure.
I've been talking with Dr. Austin Mweze, a public affairs analyst and professor at the Pan-Atlantic University in Lagos. When the News at 10 returns, the Ogun State Governor, Ibikunle Amosun, calls federal government's attention to the danger of losing oil-rich Tongeji Island. That's in a moment. Do join us again.